All right, here we go. This is you, Libra. This is Tarot Illumination, and it's your love and relationship report for the January 2018 time period. Okay, you know the drill. Done it before. Sounds like I repeat everything on each video, but you know, we have to account for people who've just shown up here for the first time. So you know the routine. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, and then reinterpret everything to suit you. It's your reading, okay? Tarot Illumination is just providing a perspective, and Tarot Illumination is not a fortune teller. You make your own decisions, Libra. I know Libras, a lot of times you don't really like to do that. You'd rather things work out and you harmonize and balance things out so nobody has to make a decision. But that means you're taking the world upon your shoulder in a way that's you don't really have to. And the scary thing for the Libra, making the decision, can actually be quite liberating, okay? I'm just mentioning that. Also, cards were well shuffled in advance, but we're going to go to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals, none of it. We're just going to try and tell a very simple story. By the way, I mentioned it on a few of the readings. For you, Libra, let's look at it this way. Okay, there's this, I know it looks upside down, but I'm just trying to get it oriented for you, Libra, specifically over here. We have this massive Capricorn new moon happening over here in what amounts to your fourth house, home, family, foundations, your sense of stability, safety, security, from which everything sprouts. Okay, so who knows what's going to happen, but it's going to be new starts and new beginnings for sure, and that can impact your whole world of relationship, you know, in some way or another. It's going to affect you one way or another, and I'm just adding it into the reading as a little bit of spice, okay? So let's get on with it. We're going to use this crucible spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, Libra, significant other, and the relationship itself, where the relationship is a third entity that has its own identity, structure, and integrity. And in a really good, loving relationship, or any relationship, I guess, where it's chosen and it's deliberate, in a healthy way, you would do everything and relate everything through the relationship. The crucible is a very, very strong container that can withstand the alchemy of relationship. The intimacy, the separation, the growth, the pains and the joys and the sorrows and the grief, all of it. All in one crucible. Let's have a look. We're going to cut, and we're going to cut again. Super crazy cutting because I'm trying to break up the deck so we have the least amount of repeats cards because I like everything to be really clear and pure. Okay, here we go. This would be your energy, your love energy radiating. This would be love energy of a significant other, a chosen one. Then going deep into you, maybe even intangible, but it's there, deep into the other, okay? Soul energy, below the surface, and then the relationship itself. Can you see the crucible here? That's it. So that's the relationship, okay? And here we are, prospects and momentum, okay? Now, this is the container in which both parties exist, hopefully in the most conscious way possible. Now, circumstantial energy, we're going to look at that in a second, and you're going to make the best of it, okay, Libra? And you have the Eight of Cups here. So it might feel in a strange way. You might not be able to put any words on it. It might be very closely related with the Capricorn new moon coming up here in the middle of January, where you might get a sensation of everything that you loved, everything that you do love is basically starting to look like it's history. Okay, that's okay. It's perfectly okay, especially with such a powerful new moon. There are going to be endings and there are going to be new beginnings. So if you think of this as the ending of something very beautiful, and it's lived its life in all its glory, and that's wonderful, and there's a whole new beginning over here where you go to ascending onto a higher path of greater understanding and wisdom and knowledge, as an individual, okay? It's like out of context of relationship, where it's really comes all back down to you in the end anyway, which is always what it does anyway. But you might feel as though, I don't want to contaminate the reading or say like love lost, but it could feel as though you're walking away from something, or that you have no choice except to move on because of what circumstances are indicating to you. Like if you look around your world and your environment, you realize things are changing, big things are ending, new things are beginning, whether you like it or not. So you have to make the decision and the choice, and the weather indications are telling you it is time for you to move on your spiritual journey, dear Libra. And even though it might feel as though you've got almost nothing to guide you except the moon, that's okay. I'm just trying to bring it back to the card identity itself, okay? So don't worry, don't stress too much about all that, all right? Just allow for big endings and big new beginnings. What's going on with you, okay? So at least you're not going to take it personally. With the Page of Wands here, it's like, okay, I can handle this. I'm courageous. I have all the best of intentions. I am going to figure out a way to make the most of it and deal, okay? You might be a very capable Libra you might be sensing and anticipating what the weather is telling you already, and you're already positioning yourself, lining yourself up to make the best of the situation. In other words, if change is inevitable, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to make the best of this? When you're facing into the unknown, you realize how little you do know it sometimes. But in a way, it kind of doesn't matter, so long as you have the desire, the passion, the vision, and the courage to carry on. It's so, so important to have that. In other words, you will not be defeated, even if you're facing a lot of issues that you've never had to face before. It's okay. You can handle it, all right, Libra? Even in the context of a relationship. The intentions are good here. You intend to be the best person for yourself, which is ultimately the best person for the significant other. And it's obvious to me here as your reader that you want what's best for them too. Not just all about you, but what works for them. Because, there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of love invested here, okay? Let's go and have a look at the other, okay? Well, they might be on their own journey, which might feel, almost like it's nothing to do with you, Libra, where they are kind of going through a massive vortex of change inside of themselves, where in the context of this relationship, they are, I know it looks very, very sweet and gentle here. It's very serene, but it's almost like, what I'm trying to convey here for this other significant party, it's all about how do they take all this raw animal egoic energy of the self, very, 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 let's say, active in their life, their world, their reality, and that it's almost like I feel like they're pondering how to bring everything in alignment with spirit according to the will of heaven, so that their presence, their identity, their purpose, their reason for being in the relationship is for them to grow themselves. Okay, so that the relationship, the crucible of the relationship, becomes a divine crucible where you, Libra, are sharing yourself with a significant other who is on their own spiritual path too. Okay, just like you, just like the weather is indicating that you are on that path too in your own way as an individual. Well, they're on their own path too in their own way as an individual, and they're making it their business. They are making it their business to, let's say, raise their frequencies to the point where it's not about them anymore. It's about their higher self, their highest self, where they're bringing themselves into service of the will of heaven, so to speak, which is ultimately very good news for you, Libra. It's like they want so much to be in alignment with Source, with Spirit, with heaven, with the will of heaven, and they're going for it. And they know it might be a battle, because it's almost like, in some ways, the two energies are completely contradictory, because the ego wants to be what it is. The ego wants what it wants. And yet there's this whole other, like fifth, seventh dimensional energies that is calling them. Okay? Let's have a look over here. Deep down inside, what's going on? Okay. Well, obviously, with the Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups here, the intentions are very deeply loving, not just for the significant other, but for yourself. In other words, you might be sensing that there is this moving on type of thing here, and you know it's happening, you know it's inevitable, and you're going along with it. You realize that you are, like, inadvertently, through the context of this relationship, being, let's say, nurtured and guided and very gently ushered into this new perspective, this new place where you've actually never gone before, and it's inevitable. Let's just say that's part of the Capricorn new moon, this whole big new thing that's going to unfold for you in the foundations of your life. And it's going to take you places where you've never been. So deep in your, like, soul, heart, love intentions in the relationship with the significant other, one of the goals and one of the intentions is to basically remind them that you have their best interests at heart, okay? Then that you deeply love them, and you are not interested in trying to fight anything that might, come into question, as both of you are on your, let's say, spiritual journey here, your own versions of your own spiritual ascendance, and all you want is love. You don't want to turn it into any kind of fight or war. You just want what's best for you, because you already seem to know that what's best for you is good for others. And this is very kind of noble energy. It's very courageous. It's being willing to walk away from confrontations and battles and instead come back to the love, what really, really counts. It's just like, I don't care about being right. I just want to be happy. So what makes you happy? Okay, if that makes you happy, if you have to go on this spiritual journey, then so be it. I love you anyway. And by the way, I love myself too, because I can tell that I'm ending up having to go on my own spiritual journey too. And I might not even want this, but I don't see any choice because of what's happening with us in our relationship. So we're just going to go for it, and we're going to make the best of it, okay? Thank you very much. So that's kind of a Libra being very, very good at being a Libra, okay? Balancing things out, bringing the harmony, bringing the love closer and closer to the core of the relationship. What about the other? Okay. Well, they might be looking at whole new horizons, different horizons, either for themselves or for this relationship or for you. But it's definitely, let's say, percolating inside of them, because they can see whole new vistas opening up in front of themselves as well, just as you are seeing that for yourself too. And there is no ill will here in any way, shape, or form. It's just that in their own, in the context of themselves, which is in the context of this relationship, they are like seeing a whole new world open up for them that they've never had a chance to either enjoy before or even like dared to enjoy before. But it is there, and they've probably known it all along. And my feeling as your reader, Libra, is that this significant other is equating their own spiritual evolution here to like starting a new life path in some way, form, or another, okay? With all the best of intentions, okay? There's no ill will here, but it's very much about them being on their new path, seeing new opportunities, horizons opening for them in a way that's good for them, okay? And, we're doing that in the context of a relationship. So there's an element of this, even though it's very much about them becoming themselves, very, very much about that, it's still in the context of a relationship dynamic here where the love is still there, okay? Let's have a look at the core, okay? So what can happen is it can make things a little bit disorienting. So what can happen is you might find, Libra, that you are getting, I would say, disoriented by some of this energy, to the point where, despite your best intentions, the relationship is taking you to the limits of your ability to understand what is actually happening here. But so long as you have the good intentions, it kind of doesn't matter. I feel with the Seven of Cups here, the relationship itself is going to become more and more, let's say, nebulous, harder to understand, harder to manage, harder to handle, as both of you go on this spiritual evolutionary pathway. Because please understand, Libra, that thing here, hold on, this enormous cluster of change here, irreversible change, is going to affect your significant other somewhere else in their life too. And we don't know where that is. If you do your cross-watching, you might be able to get some heads up about all that. But they are going to have their own thing here too. And it's obviously affecting them in such a way that where they're very much on their own path here. Even in the context of a relationship, it's very much their own path, their own awakening, their own new horizons, okay? Which could, put the relationship in a state of, let's say, extreme wobbliness. And it doesn't mean it's the end of the world or anything. It's just more that the relationship itself becomes, let's say, quite unstable in terms of matters of the heart, despite your best wishes and best intentions. But that's okay, because it's all part of the evolutionary journey. And this would be, let's say, part of the process. In other words, it's the relationship would have the feeling that, like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? I thought this, or I felt that this was that, or wait a minute, didn't we this, and how did we get that? Where did we go out of whack? How did we get all this love here? But the love is like, what does it actually mean? It's just like a scramble. It's not chaotic. It's just very, very, let's say, it would be very hard to interpret and go from there, despite the best intentions. So where does that put you? Let's hold on. I want to get back to one thing here. Okay, Libra, this is your reading about you in the context of a significant relationship with a significant other. This is completely their energy here, but it is in the context of relationship. So in the context of relationship, which is what this is, it's like being exposed to, like, the optical illusion of what you thought was the relationship, which could be a bit disorienting. But it's also very important to understand that you're a part of the creation of this. They are a part of the creation of this. So if everything is not what it appears to be, and new things are unfolding, that's good news. Because to have this at the foundation of a relationship, in some ways, if you want to say, it could be like really stretching this to a dream come true thing, but it's more to do with misinterpretation of what is like reality, like serious reality checking needing to go on here, where what you thought was reality, what they thought reality is very much very, let's say, fungible. Okay, it's very, very changeable right now, almost like one of those like hippie, bubble day glow lamps, where it's all like the lava lamp. It's like that lava lamp type of energy. Like, what? It's all beautiful, but it's all very weird. And then it goes blah, 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 and then blah, 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 blah. Like it's very hypnotic. It's very beautiful, but it's also in some ways hard to understand or explain. So what do you do with that? Where does it take you? Okay. Oh, look at that. Little Two of Cups. There's so much love here, Libra. So much love. Look at all these cups. Doesn't even matter what the context is, but it takes the whole relationship sort of like to the point where it doesn't actually matter about the three-dimensional aspects of the relationship. What counts is the core of the relationship, where even if you don't really fully understand what's going on, Libra, and they are completely out there on their own thing, doing their own thing, and it might be feeling like they're going farther and farther and farther away on their own kind of journey. And at the same time, you are still totally loving. I'm not saying in obviously like clingy ways, but in very genuine, loving heart ways. And you understand that you are kind of going on your own, new levels of advancement too. And you understand at the very core of it, the very deep soul aspect of the relationship, that it's very, very pure. It's very, very blessed. Now, how that would actually translate into three-dimensional life, that's a whole other thing. But it's a very, very clear indication here with this little card that the love is like very beautiful, and it's a like perfect match situation, even though like the energy is like going this way. Like you want to go this way, like you want to keep the love, but the lava lamp says, well, wait a minute. There's a whole higher thing going on here. We have to think of our love relationship in a whole new context now. And you're going to get that in the form of feedback from them. And you're going to get it in the form of feedback like according how you respond to how they go, because they are evolving and growing themselves in the context of this relationship. This could not have happened to them without being with you. And this could not have happened to you without being with them. So it's a very, very beautiful scenario, but it might be just a little weird and disorienting and unusual to the point where it like takes you out of your head, so to speak. So in other words, because there's a lot of energy here of moving on, spiritually evolving and advancing. And there's a lot of energy about moving on here and the desire to advance and grow. For you, the individual, for them, the individual. Now, how that actually works out in real life, that is a whole other thing. But there's no question that the love is there, and it's something that's very like pure and will last forever, even if it's only in the form of like, let's say, pure platonic love. Okay? If things end up to be very platonic and pure, then that's fine too. It's still love at the highest frequencies. Okay? So I'm not going to say anything more. I don't want to spoil it or try to like tell your fortune or anything like that. I just want you to like ponder this for a while and reinterpret it however you want. I'll put this over here. Don't be too scared of this, okay? Please just treat it as part of the journey, part of the mission, the unfolding, and understand that even platonic love can be sometimes even more satisfying than what you might call traditional love, okay? Boy, girl, man, woman, house, family, babies, cars, minivans, jobs, careers, and all that. This kind of tops it all, okay? So don't worry too much. All right, Libra, all the best. Thank you so much. Have a super, super January. Thank you for choosing Tarot Illumination. Bye-bye.